Hello everyone, and welcome to Snowfell Cinema, where we only show the most premium of tarot card readings. I'm going to start with a routine security check, just to cleanse up your aura. We want to remove any energies that might be stressful, pressuring, or confusing. Okay? Alright, so if you don't mind just staying still for a bit, I'm going to brush you off and then polish you up. Alright, I'm going to start with around your face. Your ears, and your mouth. The reason why I do the ears and the mouth is because we want to those energies, those stressful, pressuring, and confusing energies, make their way through your ears. Basically, it's what you hear. Whatever, that's where you get stress and pressure and confusion from. And then we want to remove it from your mouth so that you're not spreading things that are stressful, pressuring, or confusing to others. All right? This is for everyone's safety. All right? If you could lift your chin up for me and get under your neck, and I'll polish everything up. Around your face, your ears, and what I'm doing with the polishing is I am providing truth, beauty, and freedom. All right? I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what I think. All right? Maybe not what's like factually true because I don't know everything. All right? But I'm just gonna tell you what I think, and I'm going to support you. I don't know. It's a little bit. I just watched a video on like what a cult is, so I'm trying not to be like culty, about it. And I think the emphasis is really in the freedom. You can do anything that you want to do. Talk to anyone about anything you want to talk about. Whatever. I don't care. All right? I don't care. You're gonna brush your shoulders off. Polish that up. And then if you don't mind, I'm gonna have you spin around. Then I'll brush off the back of your head, your ears, your neck, and down your spine. Right, polish that up. Ears, neck, and then up and down that spine. So if you haven't sat up already, I'm gonna have you sit up for me. Very good. All right, if you could spin back around for me, I'm going to brush off your heart. Again, clear up any of those stressful, pressuring, or confusing energies in your heart. Polish that up. And then your stomach. I hold a lot of like resent, guilt, envy, and jealousy in the stomach area. I'm gonna brush all that up. Polish out all of that insecurity and provide you with a little bit. I want to provide you clarity, and that's what I mean about truth, beauty, and freedom. I want to provide you with something that you feel that resonates. Okay, so if it doesn't resonate, then it would probably be confusing, stressful, or pressuring. And if you feel that way, then it's time to remove yourself from the situation. Speak with someone you already trust, or with yourself. Sit with that energy. Do you resonate with what I'm saying? Okay, are you resonating with what I'm talking about? Does that already speak to you? Again, it should be clarity. I should be providing clarity, not something you never heard of before. So if I start talking about things you never heard of before, I encourage you to look at more clarity. If it's a specific word or a notion or whatever it is, and show, ask somebody else. Ask somebody else. What do they think? Do they resonate with this? And keep going until you're sure. If you're going around asking a whole bunch of people or whatever, then You might be confused by what I'm saying. Well, yeah, I guess, yes. If you are confused, it's best to look for clarity. And I'm hoping that I am a place in which that you are finding some clarity. I understand that I can't provide everyone with clarity because different personalities and such like that. So yeah, and I think that it's kind of really, well, at least the things that I was learning about cultness is they work with a lot of serotonin. They will approach you in places like if it's a cult, and then I think an occult can be anything, honestly. Like your family could be a cult, your friends could be a cult, your lovers could be a cult. What narcissists do is a form of cult-like behavior, and that's getting you into like a comfortable place where you can eat or sleep, and is all about serotonin. So if it's an outside source or whatever, they might meet you at a cafe or a yoga studio or some place in which they expect you to be comfortable, where you expect to be comfortable. And I think that any place can be like that. Yeah, especially a home. So when I'm talking about family and stuff like that, I think that's a big possibility. And because of that, and because I produce serotonin, and because I purposely produce serotonin, I want to kind of check myself to make sure that I am not promoting any type of cult-like behavior in others, because I don't want to do that. I mostly don't not I want to not do that. One, because I want you to have your own freedom and for you to choose your own life and for you to go about the world as in the way that you wish to do it. But also, I don't want you to be following me because I find that a little bit annoying, to be clear with you. But some other tactics that they do is they try to they try to do a mock form of oxytocin where they will they'll pretend like they're being transparent with you, and they will let you speak on yourself and not try to take your identity away, but they'll say things like, other people won't understand you, or other people don't get it. And it's like a preparation for your isolation, and I don't want to do that. There are plenty of people who are going to think like you, and they don't have to be associated with me. Okay, there's plenty of people out there who, even if they don't understand you, can still be very much compatible. And this is what I'm working with when it comes to my personality analysis. I don't think that just because you are a specific personality type that you can only hang out with other personality types. And we'll take narcissists for an example. A narcissist, if narcissists only interacted with each other, they will be fighting for power, for praise, or something to boost their ego, and it'd be very combative. So I don't see that being very successful. A narcissist does need someone who is willing to forego their ego needs. And I think that really good personality candidate for that would be a dependent. All right. So if you're a narcissist and you're looking for, a partner, or you're looking for a family member or a friend to spend your time with, you're going to be looking for someone who is dependent, who has a dependent energy. And so for all my dependents out there watching this video, how do you feel about that? Now, some of the personalities are rather fixed, like narcissists, or narcissist personality. They're rather fixed. Doesn't mean that they can't change. They can, but it's not likely due to their low levels of agreeability. So they would change for some reason for themselves, but not for some reason for somebody else. While a dependent is likely is one of the it's like the other half of the personalities that can change, especially for other people. Independents are kind of known for being quite the chameleon when it comes to the needs of other people. But if you do identify with that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a dependent. You just kind of have to know what interactions you are going to get. If you're a dependent and you find yourself in a relationship with a narcissist, understand that you are their life support. This is kind of like I've seen scenarios or stories, maybe movies or cartoons or something like that, where a vampire character is partnered with a human, and the human just provides them with like enough blood for the vampire to survive. They try to be kind of cordial about it. So understand that that's likely to be the dynamic between a narcissist and a dependent, especially on consensual terms. Not a lot of narcissists do that consensually, and this is where they get their vampiricness from. But it could be done. It could easily be done. Even if the narcissist doesn't outwardly say it, because narcissists have a hard time admitting that they're a narcissist, you as a dependent can understand these things about other people, and especially because you have a higher level of agreeableness, that you can empathize with other people. So you could probably, with enough research and enough conversation and enough thought, that you could probably pick out a narcissist really easy, especially because a narcissist is going to approach you. Okay, so if you identify as a dependent and a narcissist comes towards you, you can think, okay, well, maybe this person's a narcissist. I'm going to see how they act or whatever, and then you can decide how far you want that relationship to go. You will have the control over in that situation. If you want to. Otherwise, you can just, go about your day and not really think about it. But if you're a dependent and you're like, I don't know why, well, I mean, honestly, as a dependent, I could imagine that you would find being used to be very fulfilling, because a dependent wants to be of use to somebody, and without the need to they like giving, it's very submissive. Okay, very submissive. So if you identify as submissive, in a general sense, not just in a fetish sense, but you could identify yourself as a dependent, and then you would be looking for a dominant, like a narcissist, and especially if that is something that, if you wanted to live a full-time submissive or a dominant submissive relationship, then that's the dynamic that I think that would probably best be suited for you. Now for other people, but just because you play submissive or you play dominant doesn't mean that you are a narcissist, and it doesn't mean that you are a dependent. It can mean all kinds of things. It's more about how you are outside of the bedroom than inside. So yeah, I just kind of I want to start providing because I could be oh man, all narcissists are terrible and they shouldn't be here and blah, blah, blah. I'm I kind of want to give them some love, I want to give them some you know, some, like, I want to see them for themselves. Everyone has potential, or everyone has value. Everyone has value. And so it's just really important to know where you're putting your efforts into, whether you're one thing or another. I think I want 2 more cards here. Okay. Let's see if I can get one more card. Yeah, look at that. Just like that, easy peasy. Okay, so it looks like our genre of our story, movie, whatever. I might read it like a movie, I might not, I don't know how, we'll just see how it goes. We have the 3 of Hearts here. Isn't that so pretty? I know it's a little bit sad, but it's really pretty. So this is a tragedy, a drama, a ghost story maybe. Could be some type of horror. I'm not sure. The last reading we didn't really hone in on that. Genre so much. We did have some action in it, but it was really about what more of an analysis basically. So we'll likely do the same thing here. For our main character, we have the Elder of Cups, our last card to show up. So this is going to be someone who like knows relationships. So this could be like, this is kind of like maybe cult leader-ish, it could be. Definitely understanding how people interact. So like me talking about all this, like I could be teaching a lot of people how to be cult leaders with some of the things that I'm saying, at least, and I would, but cult is just short for culture, or cult and culture are very synonymous. So anything can be a cult. So, because anything can be a form of culture. I mean, like the LGBTQ community is a little bit kind of like that, only because it has different terminology for things. I mean, being a Pokemon fan is also a little bit like a cult because it has different terminology. Like being a sports fan is also a little bit like a cult because you got different terminology, and that's usually the key of it. The one thing that you want to be wary of when it comes to a cult is the restriction on your freedom. They tell you can't do something, or make you feel bad for interacting with other people outside of the cult. That's how you know that's a bad cult. All right, that's a cult that's trying to isolate you. Not every cult is trying to isolate you, and I think that's what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, so we have here like someone who's like a little bit of a smooth talker, could be very salesman. Yes, with the conscientiousness and agreeability. Like their main focus is conscientiousness. So this is organization, and organization usually equates to like math and money. All right, this is why they're elders, because they got their lifelong finances or whatever. But this is pertaining to agreeability, and that's heavy on the socialization. So this is someone who maybe like could even like collect people. Again, this is very culty type energy, a community promoting, community building type of energy. This is your community leader. All right, that's the other thing to think about too with a cult, is that a cult is really dangerous when there is like a leader. You don't want a leader, all right? You don't want a leader. You want, and this is why lots of religions are like that, because they have one head of like, a priest, or whatever other cultures have, a reverend, someone who's going to kind of like tell you what to think, and that's not how you're supposed to do it. or at least you can do it. You can do it. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm really trying to not be like this, like a cult leader, by telling you what to do. But make your own decisions. But if you want to feel like you're in a cult that respects your freedoms, then you definitely don't want someone who's going to tell you what to do, right? Above our Elder of Cups, we have the Five of Wands. So this is going to be, this is like, okay, and above our character is usually like what they aspire for, their goals. So this could be someone who likes a little bit of drama. They like a little bit of people at each other's throats or whatever. So it is giving a little bit of cult leader. I think another good sign of a bad cult is going to be someone who's going to maybe pressure you. Again, that's a key word here. Pressure you into not liking other people or fighting against other people. If I have suggested that in my other videos, please excuse me. That is not the messaging that I wish to convey. I wish for you to understand yourself and where you would like to put your energy. Do not put your energy into negative things unless you want to. Freedom, see, freedom. Unless you want to, but it's not advisable to put your efforts into something that you do not like. And this is like in my other video when I was saying like maybe pick a problem and find the solution in it. I want to focus on the solution part, okay? And that is what you can add to something, not this, like not to take something out, okay? We're working in positive energy here, all right? We're not doing that. We're not, you know, I can think of some terminology, but I don't think it's appropriate to talk about. But yes, you want to lead by example, in your personal example. And I mean, like when I say example, like if I am promoting you to do anything, is to be your most authentic self. So if you are narcissistic or cult leader like, I suggest that you continue to be exactly who you are. I'm not trying to tell you not to be that. I'm just telling you where your efforts might be best suited, but and so that it can provide you some sustainable and contenting energy, okay? So like I said before, if you're a narcissist, it's kind of best that you find a consenting dependent. And I think that going all in into a like a dominatrix or a dominant role, I think would be very helpful for you. And so that's heavy on the dopamine thing. And I think that, yes, portraying yourself as like kind of like the whoosh kind of thing is going to be very, very absorbable, but this does limit the areas in which it is appropriate to do that. I mean, you can only do that with consenting adults in a sexual way. So friends and family is a little bit out of your realm of comfort. I will continue to think of ways for narcissists to get the best out of their familiar relationships, because there's kind of a lack of consent there. That's what makes it a bit of a problem. You can't put that dominating energy into your familial ties because they're not consenting to that. Even if they do identify as a dominant, even if they do identify as a submissive, they're likely not identifying themselves as a submissive with you as the family member. If they are, that's a whole different conversation, and you know that's not legal here, so you can't do that. I think it's not legal here. I think it's not legal here, so you can't do it. If it is legal here, then, you know, I guess, I don't know. Don't ask me about that. But when it comes to friends, you can do this. This is like when you get into like mean girl-ish energy. Like I just watched a movie review on Jawbreaker, where the lead mean girl, the lead popular girl was a mean girl. You could do that. I don't think that it's sustainable, but you could do that. You could get with other narcissists to, but again, like your whole thing would be to like siphon energy from dependence, and if it's not in a consensual sexual situation, then it's not consensual, and then therefore it's not appropriate, I would say. Definitely not fair, and definitely would make other people uncomfortable, and definitely, like, if these people watch my videos, they might feel like that this relationship's not quite for them. I think I would, unless it is for them and they like that, because there are lots of you okay, well, you could, if you are a narcissist, you could be looking for a sycophants. So it's really important for you to have like some type of stature or act like some type of stature. I think heavy on the dopamine. So again, with the dominatrix or dominant kind of look, the full leather, very big, bold energy, and then, like when people be walking other people on a leash down the street, something like that. You could find people who you don't want to have a sexual relationship with as a narcissist, who are willing to be a sycophant for you, but that usually comes with some type of status. So I would definitely work on that if you identify with that spectrum. 2626 is what I just saw. So above this kind of like drama energy with the Five of Wands, we have the Three of Wands and Justice. So our main character here could think that expanding is like their right. It's giving me the enlightenment movement when the, how do I want to describe them? When they were, when the Europeans were invading America, the indigenous lands that we now call America, they believed that it was like a divine right to do this, to take land and kill people and ruin the entire environment and make an entire matrix ran by the demigorgon type of energy, and I really do think that they were really listening to the demigorgon, but that's a segue. So this is someone who thinks it's kind of like their birthright to be like that. So our last video, we talked a lot about borderline personality. I think this one we're going to be talking about narcissistic personality, which I think is really fun. So yeah, this needing to expand, again, this need to dominate, but it's so funny too, because our narcissist character doesn't see themselves as dominating, they see themselves as righteous. And I think this is something to think about. Now, just because you're watching this and you think of yourself as, if you think of yourself as righteous, but that righteous as in like you should be telling other people what to do, like blatantly, specifically, then you might be a narcissist. Not to say that you don't have like lots of people have the right to feel like good about themselves, or like high, like big chested or whatever, but it's when you start bumping chests on other people, and that's when you kind of get a little bit into at least the, like, you could be, let me check my notes here, with that, like, thinking you're bigger and getting to push people around kind of energy, you can be narcissistic, you could be antisocial, and you could be obsessive. Okay, these are all, they all have very much the same balance of extroversion and agreeability. High in extroversion, low in agreeability. Very controlling energy. Definitely think that they have a right to do it. So this could be any of the three, but I do think it's a little bit more like, I mean, it could be antisocial with the aggressive or whatever. So I guess we can continue. We could see. But yeah, you might be high in extroversion and low in agreeability, and with that combination, then you are a little bit controlling, and you're less likely to change your ways. So it's kind of good that we have this talk, so that we could know exactly what it is that you should be doing here, or what would be most successful in your combination of traits. On either side of our main character here, I should think of a word to describe the spectrum in which the traits are even though there are different priorities for each. I'll think of it at some point. But on one side, we have the Adult of Swords. So heavy communication. And then we have the Nine of Cups. And this is kind of like, that is, it's a form of success and about socializing. So this is someone who feels like they're really in control of the environment. So again, this is very controlling the narrative. That makes a distinction between a narcissist, an antisocial personality, and a obsessive personality. Only the narcissist is going to control the narrative, at least in the eyes of other people. An obsessive will control the narrative only for themselves, and an antisocial personality doesn't care what the narrative is. And in fact, they like going against it. So this does seem like there is someone who likes to be seen as good. Yeah, and I guess that's what I mean by with the Justice card here. Like supporting the Five of Wands, it's very much like they're combative, but they think they're righteous in doing it. So that, and then they're going to change the narrative. They're going to control the narrative, basically. They're going to talk a lot. Now, the antisocial may be loud, and the obsessive might be controlling, but the narcissist is the talker. Okay? In our scenario, in our 12 personality type system, they're the talker. Above the communication, we have the Two of Cups. So this is like, this is going to be like people who, this is going to be our narcissistic personality. This is when I'm going to pretend to be a narcissist with you guys, but this is when we talk about, this is very uncomfortable for me to say. It's very uncomfortable for me to say we in this, but this is when we communicate. Will we say anything to get other people to join us? This is very culty. This is very very manipulative. Yes, very manipulative. I feel like if these two cards were seen in a different diagram, this could be very close communication, but with what we got here, it's giving a little bit of, I'll say whatever you want me to say. This is that flattery thing. It's that kind of love bombing thing that, that is just very, I mean, who else does a love bomb? I think that, I think a histrionic personality could do a love bomb as well. Possibly a dependent within desperation. But I do think that love bombing is kind of like key to the narcissistic tactic, because they are like kind of keen to withdraw, and like, then I feel like that's a perfect segue into what I'm about to show you next. Um, above our Nine of Cups, when it's kind of like, it's almost giving me collection of people kind of thing. So it's giving a little bit. Okay, so I know that it is rather popular right now, and I'm sure that there are groups in which that this works, but this is giving a little bit of like a, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not ready to say it yet. I'm not ready to speak my truth yet. I'm not ready to make that type of enemy yet, because that I'm not ready for that. So I'm just gonna continue. If it does happen to show up, I will be transparent with you. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can leave it in the comments, and I will be brave enough to tell you about it. I don't want to hurt anyone's idea of themselves, or I don't want to put anyone on guard or anything. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Where this kind of like collection of people kind of thing with this Nine of Pentacles, at least from how we're seeing this here. Um, we also have the Four of Coins, which is just, or the Four of Pentacles, which is just very much like holding all the power, very non-communicative, very strategic, very manipulative. And so with the combination of the Two of Cups and the Four of Pentacles, this is very much like I'm keeping you. Very much I'm keeping you. And which can be, rather, well, I mean, it's rather possessive. Now, there's lots of things, there's a few personality types that I think that can be rather possessive. Like paranoid personality is very possessive. I would say obsessive is also another very possessive personality trait. I think borderline can also be possessive because they're so loyal. And of course, the narcissist can be possessive. Antisocial, not quite so much. You might think because they're rather aggressive, but they kind of are a little bit like you can come and go energy. Like it might hurt their ego for you to leave, but they're a little bit like, well, they'll probably take the opportunity to be like, I knew you weren't shit, something like that. While the narcissist is going to be like a little bit like, well, why would you choose other people over me? How could you be so cruel? Trying to manipulate you into staying, kind of thing. I have to say it. I think that this is kind of a little bit like, I can see a lot of this happening in polyamorous relationships. I'm not gonna say all before you all come for my neck, because I know you're all very, very ruthless. And I mean that in the best way possible. You believe in what you believe in, so I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm saying that if you some signs that you could be looking at that would make you feel, I mean, you're already, some signs that you could look at to see if you're in a bad poly relationship is this feeling of being like kind of on the outside. All right. And a lot of that just kind of like collecting type of energy without wanting to, it's like heavy dopamine vibes, and like kind of not a lot of oxytocin. Now when I say that, like, you can be really communicative and you're in poly relationships, but when it comes right down to it, and it's a little bit more of mm, like I saw a scenario video of someone talking, like two people talking. They're in a poly relationship, and one partner was going to go see a new prospect, which I think is interesting way to put that. That might have just been the way I put it, but they're going to go hang out with their like new love interest or whatever, and their partner is feeling a little bit like uncomfortable, jealousy and things like that, which they say is really common in poly relationships and such. But what I did not like was the solution that they decided on, and that was that the person who was going to see the new partner was just going to go see the new partner anyway, and then they were going to make it up to their current partner afterwards, which I have a huge problem with, because it's not, I hear what you're saying and I'm going to respect your feelings. It's I hear what you're saying, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and if you give me a chance, I'll make you forget about it. That energy, okay? Not to say that that video is it covers all of polyamorous relationships. I don't know. I haven't been in all of the poly relationships. But I do think that as kind of a promo as what to do or what to expect in a poly relationship is very narcissistic. Not to say that you can't be narcissistic, and not to say that you can't enjoy being with a narcissist, but if you're trying to, but it is very narcissistic, because what I would imagine would be a little bit more, because of the lack of oxytocin, what I imagine would be a more oxytocin filled response would be, okay, I've if I was, what I would imagine with a narcissist, what I imagine with the poly person who is going to court someone else, what I imagine would be a very considerate thing to say would be, okay, I understand that you are feeling uncomfortable with this. I'm going to, postpone my courting goal with this person, because what's the rush? Are you guys dying? What's happening here? You postpone it, and we'll talk more about the dynamic in our relationship. It sounds like you might not be comfortable with our relationship or the dynamic in a relationship, so we can talk more about it. What can I do for you right now that would make you feel comfortable? What do you need? Do you want to also meet this person? Do you do you need more of a heads up? Do you need a romantic night out before I go and do this? What's going to or do you want to schedule where I'm going on a date and you're also going on a date at the same time? I think that would be a lovely solution, especially if you're both poly. What would be the problem with that? What would be the problem with that? And then again, as the other person that you're trying to court dying, is there you only got such and such amount of hours before they're gonna choose somebody else? And what would that mean? Because you're poly, what would that mean? So this is just a little bit about kind of that. Well, I need to go see this person right now, so you're gonna have to deal with it, and then when we get back, I'll try to help you forget about that. It's just not very very comfortable for me, but I might just have a personality type that just doesn't work with that. Now, someone could be oh no, that's perfectly fine, if you're a little bit more towards the dependent side, and you're okay, whatever you want to do, I'm willing to do, because I think that a dependent thinks that a self-sacrificing mortar type energy is how you express love. So you can do that, but I would definitely put that scenario into narcissistic dynamic. That's a narcissistic dynamic. Again, not to say that you can't be. I'm not saying that. I think that it would be very foolish for us to think that we could live in a world without narcissists. It's just not going to happen. All right, it's just not going to happen. So, narcissists out there definitely hone in on the dependence in the world, and dependence. There you go. You got a narcissist is going to is going to push you through the ups and downs, the struggles of what you consider love. Now, I don't think that there's a lot of oxytocin in there, so it's definitely not a soulmate situation. Definitely not a forever type of love, because oxytocin is Aphrodite Urania. You need Aphrodite Urania in order to have a loving and consistent relationship. So I don't think that it's going to last very long, and I think that's probably the appeal of poly, because you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You can have a whole bunch of baskets with a whole bunch of eggs all over the place. So yeah, on the side where it's very like kind of like it's kind of like manipulative, like I'm going to tell you whatever you want to say so that I can do it. Basically what I was saying in that scenario, the adult of swords with the two of cups is very much like, I'm going to go do this, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to treat you right when I come back. That's it. It's that very much that, very, very much that. On that side, we have the Seven of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. So this is this a new person? Usually these are new people or whatever. I'm gonna hold it up like this. But I guess this is kind of giving me like some people in these kind of like narcissistic relationship, and it's kind of like if you're in a narcissistic relationship and you're not the narcissist, you're going to be putting in a lot of work. All right. If you are putting in a lot of work and you're realizing that maybe you don't want to put in a lot of work, you're going to want to leave. There's no way out of it. You're going to want to kind of not be in that situation. You definitely don't want someone to do actions that make you feel uncomfortable just because they want to do it and they think that's a form of freedom. And it is a form of freedom, don't get me wrong. I definitely think that it's a form of freedom, and you have every right to do whatever you want to do, but you don't have a right to try to convince someone to stay with you or think that it's healthy to do that. It's not healthy to do whatever you want despite the feelings of someone you've committed to. It's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. It's just not healthy. There's no oxytocin in there. You can't be vulnerable. You can't be free. You're just making that person kind of feel bad for thinking that they deserve more of a commitment from you. And I think that is right, especially when you outwardly said that you guys were committed to each other. I don't understand where we got the cognitive dissonance from. That you said you're committed, and yet when it's time to be committable or committing, you decide not to commit. I don't know, and this is why I don't do it anymore. I was in a poly relationship once, but I won't be doing that again. I won't be doing, not to say that all poly relationships are bad. It's just very, very not conducive for me. Just like some people they're just born polyamorous. I'm just born monogamous. And I can respect that, what you're doing there, and I can respect what I'm doing. But for all my monogamous people that want to try poly, and I think that's a thing too. I think a lot of people will say I've heard other people who are they have a partner that's poly, but they're rather monogamous, and I think that dynamic is very narcissistic and dependent energy. Narcissistic and dependent energy. Not that it can't exist. I'm just not a dependent. Okay? I'm just not a dependent. So I'm speaking to also my non-dependents out here. I wouldn't do that. Unless you have some other ulterior motives, especially if you're obsessive, you could see this as a status symbol or something like that. So you might be willing to have your partner as a polyamorous person and you just not be. I don't know. That could be. I'm not. It could be. I don't know. I'm also not an obsessive personality. Um, Anywho, on the side of where it's like kind of like with a 9 of cups in the 4 of pentacles, when it's just like kind of like collecting people, like, and I don't get me wrong here. Like, I'm definitely letting you know, I'm definitely trying to express that you can be whatever personality you want, that we need your personality in the world. It just makes the world go round. But there, I am very, like, I'm a little like the energy, like, if that was like, well, and with some grace, I'll give some grace. If this is a positive energy, I'm a negative energy, and or no, that's not how that works. There is just like kind of like you're over there and I'm over here type of energy. That's fine. I'm not gonna come over to you and tell you that you shouldn't be doing this. But if someone asks me like, hey, I don't know about this poly relationship and blah blah blah, I'm gonna probably do a personality analysis and be like, hey, you probably need a little bit more oxytocin in your relationships than this situation is providing you. Some people don't need oxytocin. Some people just don't process it. Some people just don't, and some people can't see serotonin, and some people can't see dopamine. You know, they're just chemicals that aren't accessible to some people, and I think that a poly relationship is going to be very conducive to people who do not obtain oxytocin. They don't know Aphrodite Urania. They've never met her before. She's never visited them. All right, it's just not accessible. But on the side of just kind of like collecting people, we have the 10 of Cups and the High Priestess, which is kind of interesting combination because this is on their own is very positive, but I think that this has to do with like it's, oh, you know what this is? It's very cold. It's very cold. Like, and I think that there is an idea of like kind of like being like kind of like polygamy ish. Polygamy itself is very culty. I definitely see that because it's just one person who having multiple partners, but those other partners can't have other partners. And I think that I think that there is a type of goal here in a poly relationship that's different from polygamy. All right, I'm not saying that they're the same thing. They are very different. I think that they both lack a level of oxytocin though, in their relationship. I would definitely say that the oxytocin isn't being produced there, or if it is, well, no, it's not, because oxytocin isn't a chemical that can be produced and then taken away. It is something that needs to be consistent, and that's where we get soulmate energy from. All right, and if you're a poly person and you're talking about soulmate and stuff energy, like, I might suggest that you not I might suggest that your verbiage isn't exactly what, well, here in the temple here, in the temple of Aphrodite here, that's not exactly that's not what we talk about. All right, to be a soulmate, you need a level of oxytocin, and it needs to be consistent. It can't be when you feel like it. It can't be only on a Monday. It can't be we're gonna be transparent with each other now, and then later we're gonna be, I'm gonna be cold and standoffish to you. That's not oxytocin. You are doing dopamine. You're getting them addicted to you. All right, and I think that this card setup is a little bit kind of like the idea of being like like kitchen poly, where everyone kind of sits at the table and kind of thing. And I think that would be nice and stuff like that. And I think that would be nice, but it insinuates a level of oxytocin that is not to say that it can't exist, but you're going to have to do it. And I wrote this down too. You're going to have to do it in a hive mind type of situation, in which, like, if, say, like, okay, you're 2 people, right? You start off with 2 people, and you both decide, without any outside circumstances like affairs or anything like that, that you are both going to be poly, all right? And so now that you're both poly, you're going to go out together. This is kind of like when people look for a unicorn in a relationship, they're looking for a third person. Very much like that. So you go out together and you date someone who you want to bring into your family, basically, your poly relationship. And so you get that one person, and so now if you wanted another person to join your poly relationship, you all have to be on the same page about it, which I think is very difficult, even for two people to be on the same page, which I think is the argument as to why monogamy isn't like a golden standard or like a perfect situation, because it's very hard to get two people to be on the same page about anything. But then you're going to get a third person, and so if you happen to be on the same page, wonderful, that's great. I'm not saying it can't happen, it's just kind of hard. And you can get a third person, and I think that it's even harder to get everyone on the same page, and that's fine. And it can happen. I don't think there's no impossibilities here. I'm not saying it can't happen, but if you're all together and you're all courting another person, all three of you, then you meet someone else and then they join your like kind of like committee, like committee poly. And so like all four of you decide who, at that point, all four of you decide if any more people are going to join the relationship. And that's what I would imagine kitchen poly to be. So if you're kitchen poly, or you want to be a kitchen poly, but you already have a partner and you're trying to court someone else who is not like if you're trying to court someone by yourself, even though you already have a poly partner, and you're trying to tell that other person that you're trying to do kitchen poly, you're not doing kitchen poly. That's not what's happening here. You are kind of you're dangling a carrot of oxytocin at them. And because that's, because you can't, because if you can go on your own and court someone else without your current partner, then you can do that again without the future prospect partner. You know what I mean? Like, if you can make decisions on your own about what you want in your relationship without considering your current partner, you're going to do the same thing with this new potential partner. All right, patterns are patterns. All right, patterns are going to pattern. If you're going to do one thing, you're going to do another thing. Especially in that dynamic, like you're literally trying to kind of pull the wool over somebody's eye and being like, yeah, we're going to sit down at the table and be a big old family or whatever, but not if I see someone else that catches my eye. I'm gonna not join dinner that night, and I'm gonna go have dinner with somebody else. That's not kitchen poly. That's not what it sounds like. That's not what it sounds like. I mean, kitchen poly kind of sounds like roommates that you kind of have sex with. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like we all live together, and we'll have sex every once in a while, and then I'll just have sex with other people. You're basically just single. You're a bunch of people that are just single, and you have no real attachment to each other. Honestly, there's no oxytocin. There's no oxytocin because there's no consistency in communication. And if someone's like, no, I don't. I mean, if someone's like, but I thought that we were going to hang out tonight, and your response is going to be like, I mean, no, I'm going to go give my time to somebody else. That's not oxytocin. It's just not oxytocin. I'm not saying that you have to have oxytocin, but it's just not oxytocin. And you would need oxytocin to be a family. All right. So if you're doing kitchen poly, you're saying you want to be a family, and you're missing an element there. All right, so I'm gonna pull some confirmations. Hold on, things got mixed up here a little bit. So yeah, If you're poly and you're watching this, good for you. Work it out, sis. Work it out. Work it out, sis. If you're a narcissist, a poly relationship kind of seems like that might be, might be up your speed. I mean, you don't have to provide any oxytocin. You don't have to provide any oxytocin. Lots of dopamine, and you serotonin also doesn't need to be there because, I mean, it's going to be very exciting, very drama filled. You need a lot of energy. To keep up with the emotional strain that's happening there. Unless you're gonna need that energy. I don't know how else to say that. Let's do 2 more cards. I think this was really fun. I think that definitely, I think narcissists, if you're a narcissist, or you've been called a narcissist, or if I said anything and I was like, if I said something about narcissists and you feel personally attacked, then you probably are a narcissist. And I think that going heavy in your dopamine is going to be really, really good for you. All right, you're going to be way, 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 way more digestible if you have a lot of dopamine. So really get into this costuming, get into the fetish gear, really look the part, like get really, really sexy, really, 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 really sexy. You need to stay sexy. All right, you don't have to worry about being vulnerable or communicative. You don't have to worry about being comforting or providing a nice like home or living environment or a safe space for anybody. Just get really, really, really into dopamine. All right, heavy into dopamine. It's gonna be a rush. You are gonna feel like a vampire. You probably will have you'll have a very exciting, thrilling, up and down life. You'll never have stability or peace, but you'll have excitement. And I think I think that's what it is that you're looking for. Lots and lots of drama, lots and lots of talk, lots and lots of energy to manipulate and move around, and lots of ego strokes. Definitely get into heavy dopamine. Heavy dopamine. The hair, the nails, work out. Whatever money you get should be invested in your appearance, because that's going to, you're very Aphrodite Pandemonia. Very, very Aphrodite Pandemonia. All right, and keep that in mind. Like, that can be very inspiring, very positive, very uplifting for you. Definitely get into BDSM groups, leather groups. Definitely get into lots of kink communities. Get heavy in that dopamine. And my only little bit of advice for you is really take some time to yourself to care for yourself. Your facade is going to be your biggest thing. All right, so that diet, that exercise, the skin care routine, the hair routine, all that stuff is going to be really, really important. The tattoos, the piercings, anything like that, anything that's going to be on your physical self that is going to be appealing, especially in the sexual sense. If you're a narcissist, go heavy into your sexual self. You don't need family and you don't need friends unless your friends are kind of sick freaks, and then it's also is kind of a pseudo-sexual relationship. Definitely stay away from children. Definitely stay away from children. You kind of you're not very conducive for the progression of others, so definitely Go for people who have established themselves to a degree in which they don't care about progressing anymore, and that maybe they do want to be shamed a little bit. There's plenty of people that will pay to be dominated by you. You can have a really successful life, but you can't have a familial or cordial type of life. You just can't. This doesn't, it's not sustainable. You won't ever sustain it. You're gonna die alone if you do that. All right? Get heavy. And if you're watching this and you're older and you're a narcissist, like, it's never too late to be sexy. Okay, it's never too late to be sexy. It's never too late to be sexy. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can. This is the love I'm giving you. You need to be sexy for that to work. And at the bottom of our little confirmations is going to be the Four of Pentacles. So again, it's very much upkeep, very much upkeep. Definitely, if you're a narcissist, if you're a narcissist and you have some romantic or sexual relationships, I would definitely say go heavy on the sexual and not so much romantic. I would definitely invest all of your energy into that. Stay away from your family. If you don't have any friends, it's likely that you don't. It's likely that you don't, because you don't think of people like that. So if you do have any relationships that are platonic, it's not useful to you. I guarantee you it's not useful to you. You're going to be very vampiric. You're going to be very incubus, very succubus, very concubus energy, all right? It's going to be all sex drive. You're looking for horny, pathetic people, all right? That's who you're looking for, all right? We're going to start with, I got the Star here. This is interesting. I'm going to put her down because she's naked. But maybe the nakedness is the thing that we're focusing on here. But with the Star, like wish fulfillment, I mean, definitely, I guess that's it. Kind of like have an idea of where you want to be as a narcissist. Again, think vampire. You're a vampire, all right? You don't have to be a person. I'm not shaming you into being a person. You can be a vampire. You can be a monster. That's fine. There's a place in the world for monsters. Again, people will pay you for you to dominate them, all right? So understand where you want to be in your successes. And some people, in your successes, there's someone, I guarantee you, there's a dependent out there that wants to be humiliated by you. You do not have to pick people who are non-consenting. We also have the Adolescent of Cups. So this is going to be like, you can play with a romantic sense, but always turn it into a domineering situation. Like if you go on a romantic date or whatever, you should, like, if you're the narcissist and you're going on a romantic date, I'm imagining that the other person is paying. Like, that's how you should do it. You should be really into, like, you're a sugar baby, okay? If you're a narcissist, you're a sugar baby. Not to say that all sugar babies are narcissists, but you're looking for a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. They're going to be paying for everything, all right? And if you do play romantic, let that be, like, put that in your profile or whatever it is, your online dating profile thing, that you play romantic. You're not romantic. You are going to spin it to, like, where it's going to be humiliating for the other person. You're going to run up that credit card bill. You're just using that person. Just be forward about it. With the Ace of Wands, again, it's going to be that very intense, high energy, very sexual energy. The narcissist is just a very, like, it's very successful in a sexual sense, but not very successful in anything else. And that's probably why there are so many narcissists, because I do believe that personalities are kind of like genetic based, where, like, the combination of extroversion and agreeableness has to be coincide with some level of genetics. And I think that people have sex with narcissists and have babies with narcissists, but they don't have loving relationships with narcissists. That's something to think about. With the strength card too, and with the endurance, like, you know, just yeah, own your strength. No, do what you know. Like, don't pretend to be a family member. Don't pretend to be a friend. You're a sex partner. That's it. With the adult of pentacles, yeah, talk money. All right, talk money. If it's not about money, I don't think you should do it. You should, as a narcissist, you should be focused on money and ego. If it doesn't inflate your wallet or your ego, then you don't want it. You're not going to get that from family. Or if you do get that from family, you're a twisted, sick fuck. And you should put that in your profile, because someone's going to get turned on by that. And then we have justice again. And so, like, and I think that again, this is your domain. This is your domain. Think of it like that. You are top dominatrix, top dominant in your world. Own it. Get the leather straps out, crack the whip, get to it, do your work. You know, I'm doing all this, and now I kind of like narcissists. Not to date though, or to associate with at all, because no. But I am a little bit like, yes, girl, yes, yes, king. I am a little bit like that. So yeah, again, I feel like we lost the genre, which is like kind of like a sad thing. So if you're watching this and you're a narcissist and you feel a little sad that you can't have like a good relationship with your family, or you can't have real friends, don't be sad. Get sexy. Don't be sad. Get sexy. Should I get that as a shirt? Don't get sad. Get sexy. Yeah. Definitely like webcam thing where you humiliate people online. Like, yeah, definitely. There are websites, I'm telling you, there are websites where people will just beg you to degrade them, and you can talk all types of shit about them. Even if they look good, you can talk all types of shit about them, because they want that. So you don't have to feel ashamed of your jealousy. You can use it. Actually transmute that energy into something useful. Be successful. Throw water in people's faces and have them pay you to do it. Do it. Just do it. Get sexy. And I don't care what your situation is, whatever, there is a way to get sexy. And if you don't think there's a way for you to get sexy, you're not thinking hard enough. You're not. And take it from someone who I spent my I would say my entire life thinking, overthinking. So I'm telling you, if you don't think there's a way for you to be sexually appealing to other people, you're dead wrong. All right? And you need to go hit the books. You need to go hit the books. All right? All right. So I think that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, that's totally your choice, and I completely respect it. I hope that you have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night. If you do not wish to have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, that's totally your choice, and I completely respect it. Okay, guys? Until next time, bye.